If you take anything away from today, I encourage you to be encouraged that there's still cheap purchases to be found on Meta. But obviously, looking at that stat in isolation, I got a subscriber for $9 on Meta. They say 9, I say 18. I got a subscriber in August for $18 per brand new subscriber, reoccurring revenue, a subscription box customer. Hey, welcome to Aussie Online Growing on Shopify. This is episode 120, and I'm going to share with you today my Meta ads strategy for my subscription box launch. If you are looking to launch something, episode will apply to you if you're looking to build some sort of a wait list. Much of what I'm going to share with you in this episode is my Meta ad strategy towards the building of my wait list towards an open cart of my subscription box. And this applies if you want to build a waitlist for anything really. You don't have to have a subscription box for this strategy to be applicable to you or for you to take something valuable away from today's episode. So I've got some stats to share with you from my last subscription box launch, which was in August 2024. For those of you that don't know, I have an e-com store, and much of what I share here on the podcast, of course, is my experience with growing my e-commerce brand, and also the experience I have with how I'm finding my clients' accounts when I help my clients who pay me to look after their Meta ads or their Klaviyo email management, then the experience and the learnings I get from inside those accounts as well. So I have lots of different data points and different experience to share with you about the process of launching something, which starts with a good wait list. I love a good wait list. I honestly do. And I think Meta is one of the best ways to build your wait list towards something, some sort of open cart. Maybe it's a new product launch. For me, a subscription box launch. My subscription box is a closed cart model. I've got my stats from last year to share with you inside Meta. And also, I've just built out some ads 5 minutes ago that are in the review process to start building my waitlist for my current launch. So my launch starts now, early March. By the time you listen to this, it's potentially closed cart by then. Early March, I'm going to be building my waitlist with Meta for 14 days. And then, depending how that process goes, and depending how many signups I get from my open cart via email after that, I may then also have Meta ads running directly to get new subscribers as like a direct purchase conversion, open cart, join, become a subscriber for the first time type language. But I may not do that step. I want to see how well my waitlist builds in the next 14 days and how well I convert those leads via email before deciding whether to run additional ads on Meta with an additional budget towards direct sales and purchase conversions from those ads towards my open cart. Last year, when I look at my stats, I spent nearly $200 across my whole launch on Meta. So a very small budget when you're looking at launching something towards my subscription box launch. And much of that budget was in building the waitlist. So I think it looks like I only spent about $50 on direct purchase conversion campaign at the end of my waitlist building period when the cart was open, which meant I got purchase conversions for a subscription box too. Like, remember, this is recurring revenue. This is high quality revenue. Subscription, signups are not a one and done purchase conversion. It's ongoing revenue. And when I look inside my Meta dashboard, I got purchase conversion. So new subscribers joined for $9 per subscriber. $9 for a subscriber in August 2024. Let's assume, which is a fairly solid bet, that this Meta ads dashboard is incorrect for many reasons, which if you pay for ads and run ads, you'll know, around privacy and Apple and Google and all sorts of things. Let's assume it's out by a significant amount, and the purchase of me getting a new subscriber last year was double, and it was $18 for a new subscriber. Like $18 for a new subscriber. What? That's crazy cheap, crazy cheap. In fact, some of you are spending far more than that to get a single purchase on a single order. So am I this year. If I'm looking for a purchase conversion in Meta this year, it's costing me far more than $18 to get a sale. At the moment, I'm getting some sales cheaper because I'm doing a lot of retargeting. That's a whole nother episode about a whole different strategy. Of course, you can reach out to me for the support with that. I can manage your Meta ads for you and build a strategy for you to get you some cost-effective traffic, leads, and cost-effective sales with retargeting for a very small budget. So that's a whole different conversation. But when I look at my launch last year, because I had built such a great waitlist, because some of these people who had interacted with those ads during the waitlist period were now being targeted during the purchase period, because I was directly targeting the targeting the retargeted traffic in this purchase conversion campaign. When the cart was open, I got subscribers for $18 each. Meta says $9 each, but let's say that's really wrong. And I'm going to say it was double that. It was $18. Still a massive win. Happy all day to the bank for that amount. So I may do that at the end of this waitlist period growth, but I also may not, because if I'm spending lots more this year than last year, which I am, I've tripled my budget. I'm spending $450 over the next 14 days to build my waitlist. Then I'll be getting a significantly more people joining up, and then I expect to be able to convert many of them via email before I then go ahead and decide to spend some on Meta as far as finding direct subscribers. That's what my plan is for this year, and I'm using far more creative as well. So this is a rinse and repeat process. If you do this work once, I'm using the same assets and refreshing them that I used in 2023. So I've gone back in, pulled out all my launch assets, and I've duplicated all those creatives in Canva, and I'm just changing out, adding new images, adding new copy, refreshing it. But fundamentally, all of the work I did in building those assets to begin with in 2023, I'm going to use again this year. I've also included 2 new assets, so 2 new images. And I'm doing this purely via images. Of course, you can do video in launch and building waitlists as well. I'm just doing what worked for me last time. Like, I'm just rinsing and repeating what worked for me last time. So if you want support in this, if you've got a launch coming up, you want to start a subscription box, you want to open your cart to your subscription box, you need new subscribers, you have a big product launch coming up or a new collection, and you just need the support of this back end strategy and experience and data to build that out for you, you can set yourself a budget then, and I can work with that for you, and I can get that work done for you. And you don't have to worry about feeling like you're gambling away your money on Meta, not really knowing how it's going to go or where your money should be spent. Last year when I did a launch, I spent all of my money when I was building my waitlist on landing page views traffic. So that was the objective I chose, was landing page views. Obviously, it worked really well for me. I was really happy with the results I sold out of my launch. And when I retargeted those people who interacted, I got obviously new subscribers for really cheap. The landing page views objective worked well for me last year. And I also used 2 different audiences. I used Advantage Plus audience, and I used my best converting audience that I've tested over 4 years now of spending money on Meta. So I used 2 different audiences last year. This year, I'm going all in on Advantage Plus audiences. I have so much more data after an extra 7 months or something from last time I did this. I had a massive amount of success through Black Friday with Advantage Plus shopping. So I'm going to go with Advantage Plus audience. I'm not even going to use my saved audiences and my best saved audience that often performs well for me at this stage. Of course, when you spend money on Meta, you need to watch your stats and check in on it and see how things are going. If for some terrible unknown reason, which I will be flabbergasted if that happens, then my data tanks, then of course I'll go back in and rethink this, and then I will go and use my best performing audience and not use Advantage Plus audience. But I'm going to go with Meta with this. I'm giving Meta a serious amount of creative to work with. In fact, I'm using 6 different creative types this year. Last year I used 4. This year I'm using 6. I could potentially use more, but I've really chosen the best 6. One of those is what performed best last time. So when I say rinse and repeat, I honestly genuinely mean that. One of the creatives I'm using is an image I used in August 2024 that ended up being my best performing because I built out the campaign. All of these are in the same ad set, and then Meta is going to funnel the budget towards what performs the best. So by the end of my launch period in 2024, there was one creative that performed better than all the others, and that creative is being added into this year. I haven't changed anything about that creative. I'm using the exact same one this year in amongst 5 brand new ones. So there's 6 creatives for Meta to use, and I'm doing it in 2 campaigns. So there's actually 12 creatives in that sense, but the 2 campaigns are 2 different objective types. I'm really interested to see this year if changing the objective gets me, what sort of results that gets me with Meta. So I'm keeping the audience the same across my launch at the moment. Unless things change, I'll jump in and change it. My audience will stay the same. One of the creatives is identical to last year, which was my best performing. All the rest are newly refreshed. I'm not going to say brand new because I pulled the same asset suite I built in 2023, and I've refreshed it all for this current launch. So I'm using all of those new creatives, but I'm duplicating it across 2 campaigns. So there's 2 campaigns with 12 creatives in total. And the difference between those 2 campaigns is the objective type. I'm really interested to see the difference in traffic, and I can obviously see that in Meta and in Google Analytics of how well the different objectives perform with Meta at this particular time. If you spend money on Meta, if you're looking to spend money on Meta, one thing you really need to keep in mind that your expectations need to be reasonable based on your budget, based on your objective, based on the amount of creatives you give it, and based on the time, as in just when you happen to do it. I talk a lot about Advantage Plus shopping and how it's massively volatile. So Advantage Plus shopping performs well sometimes and tanks other times. Performed really well for me across Black Friday. Performed terrible for me a month ago when I gave it another try and spent some more and to see what would happen. Didn't do so well. Did really well for a client of mine all through February. Did really well for a client through February, and incredibly well across Black Friday, but not so well now, so it's turned off. So these things need some massaging and some guidelines. You have to give Meta a little bit of a boundary to work with, especially if your account is fairly new or you haven't got a lot of data. But even if you have a lot of data, the algorithm changes as Facebook does updates, as Google and Apple do updates. Then the platform changes. Meta rolls out new features and they don't say anything about it. They just put it inside our account to see what will happen and see how well it performs. So you need to come back to these things often. So that's what I'm doing this year. I'm spending 3 times as much as last year to build the waitlist, but I may not spend any off the back end with direct looking for subscribers off Meta. I'm not sure yet. The reason I am unsure whether I will or not, even if my waitlist does well, is because I may sell out. I mean, I hope to sell out with the waitlist, and then I won't have any stock anyway to be able to say to Meta, find me some more subscribers. If that happens, of course, when I open my cart late in 2025 to do this all again, I will buy way more stock and make sure I'm well prepared for Meta to find me some subscribers on the platform. If you take anything away from today, I encourage you to be encouraged that there's still cheap purchases to be found on Meta. But obviously, looking at that stat in isolation, I got a subscriber for $9 on Meta. They say 9, I say 18. I got a subscriber in August for $18 per brand new subscriber, reoccurring revenue, a subscription box customer. What's the very next step for your small business in growing online here in Australia? Often things like email marketing or Facebook ads are things that small businesses come up against often that can be really costly to solve and really hard to find someone that you trust to look after those projects. I work with small online businesses here in Australia on those 2 very things. They dovetail together so well. They support each other so well. In my own e-commerce store in 2024, 36% of all of my revenue came directly from email marketing efforts. And my total revenue across the year was up 30% on 2023. So I am perfectly placed to support you in growing online with your very next steps. I've sort of been told I am the small budget or baby budget Facebook ads specialist, and I totally endorse that and embrace it. I love that title. If you want to work on Facebook ads, I can work with a small budget or a large budget. Or if you want to work on email marketing inside Klaviyo or another CRM, I can build flows and segments for you to ensure your deliverability remains strong, because no one wants to end up in a spam folder that stops us from sending emails. Reach out to me for a free discovery call. You can put it right in my calendar and we can talk for 25 minutes about your business and how I'm best placed to support you for a 30-day project window. You don't need to sign up to a long, expensive retainer. We can work together one-on-one just for a small period of time to begin with on a specific project to see how well we work together and see what results I can get you and your business next. Now back to the episode. Remember that data is just one data point. There's still that success to be found, but there's a whole backstory to that one stat. The backstory to that is huge, is all the money spent prior to build that wait list. And that's why that purchase was so cheap. All of these things have a story. There's so many pieces that go into success on Meta. So I just encourage you to stick at it. If you're doing Meta DIY, keep at it, like work it out. Honestly, you'll be better off for it. You'll be better off figuring out that problem for your business because your competitors may not, and they will drop off. That's how I honestly think about that often. I need to work out this next problem. I need to roll with the algorithm. I need to make it work for my e-com store and for my clients' e-com stores. I need to make it work for them and for me because their competitors won't be able to solve the next problem and they'll drop off. And I don't want to be the one that can't solve the next problem and roll with the next algorithm update and drop off, because I can get traffic so cheap with Meta, and I will this year. Meta is performing really well for me in 2025 for cheap lead generation traffic, cheap top of funnel potential customer traffic. And my subscription box waitlist growth is the perfect project and the perfect opportunity to use Meta almost exclusively. I will send some emails to let people know to jump on the waitlist. I'll be mentioning it on a few Facebook and YouTube lives with my followers who see me. But I'm spending a significant amount of money on Meta to build the waitlist for my launch. I'm using the same copy in all my ads. This has got the same caption, and it's the only difference is it will be a difference in objective that I'm just interested to see, and a difference in creative options. The audience is going to stay the same audience, same caption, same button, same AI enhancements. Don't muck with changing them out. Don't have one image that has a 3D animation enhancement and then one video that doesn't, that has a music over the top or something like that. Like, keep it all the same. Otherwise, what are you comparing against? If you're going to do a test, you need to be able to compare the test. And that's really what I'm interested to see. If I find after a week, that's how long I'm leaving it for, a week before I do too much. If I find after a week that one of the objectives is performing better than the other, I may turn it off and funnel all the budget to that one objective. If I find after a week the click-through rate on these ads is not what I expect it to be, then I will change the audience and maybe do a whole nother suite of campaigns and try a new caption. If you're looking for a bit of a guideline, let me give you what happened last year. When I look at my stats last year, my winning creative had a click-through rate of 2.9%. And my other creatives had a click-through of about 1.5. It's actually quite low. That's not amazing because the objective was a landing page view. So actually looking for lots of clicks. I need a lot of people to be clicking through. That's the point of the objective. So those stats, that percentage of click-through is actually not amazing. I'm looking probably for a better click-through rate this time. But ultimately the end was achieved. In other words, I grew my wait list out last year, and I converted a lot of them via email once the cart opened, and enough that I had a few spots remaining to then go back to Meta and say, find me some purchases, and retarget all the people who've interacted with all of this cool creative I've put out there recently. And that got me the really cheap purchase conversion on Meta. That click-through rate on my purchase conversion campaign last year for a subscriber was 6.5%. So that click-through was really great. That was obviously, that was not obviously, I was retargeting the traffic to get that great click-through rate. So that's my plan for this year. For the first launch I'm doing of my subscription box around my meta strategy is really rinsing and repeating what worked for me last year and the year before, but refreshing all of those creatives and adding in some new creatives to test as well, and going with the audience that performed well for me last time, and trying a couple of different objectives and upping the budget significantly. So I have tripled the budget as far as lead generation. I'm going to spend about $450 in the next 14 days to build this waitlist, which is built in Klaviyo. It's a Meta Klaviyo partnership, perfect little partnership for an e-com store. It's my favorite combo to use. And my favorite thing to do with Meta at the moment is to be using Meta ads to get cheap traffic and qualified traffic towards a waitlist or a giveaway or a quiz or a gift card, anything like that. I will say before I go, just FYI, the landing page I'm sending this traffic to, I haven't paid for a landing page app with Shopify. Those landing page apps are awfully expensive, and I haven't decided to do that this time. Maybe I will next time. If I sell out of this launch and I want to really ramp things up later this year, then maybe I will. But at this stage, I've just built a page inside Shopify. So I built a page, and that's become my landing page for this traffic. When you're building a wait list, don't send your traffic to a product page unless you have a very fancy souped up product page that's more like a landing page. You really want to build yourself a page in Shopify, and it looks a bit like a blog post. Build a page there, and that becomes your landing page. Build yourself a sign up embed form in Klaviyo. Take that code and embed it in that Shopify page. I've embedded it at the bottom of the page. People have to scroll down to it. That's controversial. I mean, controversial in the e-com world, in the meta ad world, it's controversial. My sign up is at the bottom of my landing page, and I need them to scroll all the way to the bottom. It's just another way for me to qualify the traffic. I'm using a highly qualified traffic anyway. I want Meta to find me viewed content traffic and purchase traffic. I'm actually using a purchase conversion campaign to a landing page. So that's quite different anyway. That's very qualified traffic, purchase intent traffic, but they're not going to a product, they're going to a landing page. Then they have to scroll to the bottom of that landing page. So the traffic I am driving is qualified anyway. It's expensive traffic anyway. And then they also need to skim down to the bottom of the page to sign up to the waitlist. So in that sense, is that too many barriers for people to sign up? Am I going to find that I've shot myself in the foot? I don't know. But these things need to be tested and then evaluated and analyzed, and then I'll pivot and change. I will touch base at the end of this, I'm sure, once I catch up with you guys on another episode about how my meta ads performed for this waitlist launch. Like literally launching the waitlist, really, not launching the open cart yet. This is just about building my waitlist. But do it. Go ahead. Try something like this for yourself. Reach out to me if you want me to build this sort of campaigns for you in your e-com store. Meta will get you qualified traffic. The AI and the algorithms, whether you're using Advantage Plus Shopping or Advantage Plus Audience, the algorithm inside Meta is getting so much better as far as targeting the right sort of people on Facebook and Instagram and other platforms. Remember, they appear in other places as well, like Messenger and Audience Network. All of these things can be applied to your business if they apply. Depends where your customers are. But they're getting so much better. So I'm just letting Meta find the people for me this time. I'm not sending the traffic to my own saved audience that's performed well for me over 4 years that I've tested and refined. I'm sending the traffic to where Meta wants to send it, and I'm going to see how it goes. So I've got my budget. I've decided to spend that, and then I'm going to let Meta do its thing. And I'm expecting good things. I had good things when I did this in August last year, and I sold out on my open cart. So I'm honestly expecting the same this year, maybe even better, because I'm pumping 3 times more money into the waitlist growth period, and we'll see what happens at the other end. I'll see you guys soon. Hey, I feel it's exciting. I love this about Meta. It's one of my favorite things to do is to use Meta in building a waitlist. So enough from me. I'll see you guys on the next episode. As always in e-commerce, hey, we are CEOs and we are the directors of marketing and the directors of finance, the directors of operation and all the things. As always, hey, keep learning.